Thanks for asking me. I really appreciate it.
When you get back to the podium, I'll start recording. Give it 30 seconds, I'll give you the thumbs up.
You give me the thumbs up and look at it. We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys ready? Ready? Can you hear me back there? I don't have a microphone, so. Awesome, thank you. All right, today we're going to be talking about moving into InfoSec. Some of you guys are InfoSec employees, I know that. So it may not be as interesting for you, but maybe it'll give you a chance to inspire others to move into this field. What we're going to be talking about is just pivoting into a new career into InfoSec if you haven't, or if you're not already there, or get the job you really want. The idea is we're going to have a roadmap together to get the knowledge that we need, the fundamentals, and obtain some clear and critical knowledge. Also put together some gadgets and projects to sharpen your skills in a fun way. So who's it for? Anyone that needs a new edge in their field, someone that wants to explore other options, and maybe they're not as interested in the field they're in. Maybe just looking for inspiration. I know when I go to conferences, people ask me, how do I get to become a pen tester? How do I go into the blue team? What do I do to even start? It's a big field, so this maybe will give you some answers to give those questions. Now, who am I? If you got to the ISA, you've seen me present on gadgets before. But my name's Erich Jackson. I'm a senior pen test analyst. Bunch of certifications. I've got my prior life was APTA and project management. I have a patent in language translation, so if you want to have a spare hour or two, I'll forward you to that. I have an open source GitHub that I'll tell you about here in a moment. But as I said, I present normally on web application security. But enough of that. Let's talk about what we actually do to actually begin our way into ISSA. Thank you. All right, so the first question to ask is security the right fit for you? Everyone loves to hack. Most people want to talk about hacking. When people hear about a fraud, it's like, I'm interested because A, I want to do it, I want to know how it's done or how to stop it. And I used to like to dabble in it a lot, but never really thought it was really for me. The hacks are fun, it's true. It's the best part of the job, absolutely. But there's a lot of hard work and study that goes in prior to that, and preparation to really understand that. So your first leg of your journey is to determine, is this your real passion? Is this what you want to spend your hours of free time in? Is this something that you want to make your main life? Do you want to commit all your time? Now, there's good signs that security fits. I have here that you'll have a surge of creativity and maybe doing tech outside of work. But if you like taking apart things, if you like to see how things are prevented, one of my friends here who gets her nose all squinched up when she sees something bad and wants to prevent it, that's a good sign that you should be security. So time to set a new course. What I mean by this is your job something that you need to leave, or is it something you just need to alter? My dad gave me this book, and it's always a bad sign when Dad gives me a book. So they're weird, strange books. I have a whole stack of them. If you guys want to read, I can give you one. He gave me this one called Orbiting the Giant Hairball. Has anyone heard of that? Alarming title, because it's like, oh no, this is not good. It's going to be another dad book by this Gordon McKenzie guy. He worked at Hallmark. He was hired because he was creative, he was artistic, but like most of us when we start a job in corporations, they don't really want you to show those things. They want you to kind of adapt to the myth of the corporation you're in. So the things that got you in may not be the things that are highlighted when you work there. His idea was that hairball is a policy, procedure, conformity, competition, focus on title that people don't like. Orbiting is taking the originality, the non-conformity, the creativity, the innovation that actually got you the job, and actually find a way to work into that without actually getting bogged into the hairball. His idea is you orbit it. You don't fall into that. You can't just do anything you want. You just have to find things that the company needs you to do, but that you want to do without falling into the daily politics, jealousy, unfairness. It was actually a really good book. It gets a little bit wild at the end, just to recommend this like that. It's like $5 on Amazon. That being said, the day you decide to go into security, it's like quitting smoking. You get immediate benefits that very first day. There's things that you will know that other people just won't know. You'll have a wide, sort of holistic look at technology that other people just don't have. So you're going to see that you're valuable just from the day one. When you first open that very first book, you'll have things that your team just doesn't have. What might be boring beforehand will now also be beneficial. Did you know in the 1980s, if you were a spy, one of the critical skills you had to know was how to plaster a wall. I would not want to plaster a wall if someone got in my head. But why would you need to know it? If you plant a bug in an embassy, especially an old embassy, you're going to have to put it on the wall. And what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to plaster it up. They had a journeyman that actually watched agents plaster walls. If they didn't do it right, they knock it down. So I learned plastering walls to plant a bug. I'm not going to learn plastering walls just for the heck of it. So when I was a developer, if I had to talk about another framework again, I thought I was going to lose my mind. If I talk about a framework and I see there's vulnerabilities, there's things that I can work around, there's things that people need to know, well, that's something interesting. And now I can actually really enjoy things about aspects of my job that maybe I didn't before. Now, are you too late? I had a friend of mine who told me, it's too late for me, I can't get into InfoSec. You absolutely can. It's not too late to actually start incorporating this in your job now or look to a new job. So how does InfoSec look in the future? This is from Bureau of Labor Statistics from last year to 2028. It's looking like a 33% projected job growth, which is great. Good candidates are always sought. And here's the thing, attackers just aren't going away. I mean, as we saw during the keynote, there's things like Target, TJ Maxx, Experian, was that the one that got hacked that suddenly they didn't care much about? But it makes people, CIOs, CISOs, very nervous, and they are always looking for good people. Hard to find good people, though. Job satisfaction, talk to any of my colleagues here, and they will tell you they love their job. It's you get to apply your knowledge and really make a difference every day. So it's really great. Have you guys ever been at a job where someone fakes their knowledge? And like you have some people that obviously don't know what they're doing? It's hard to do in security. Can't do it very easily. We found out very quickly. So if you are a professional that can speak very well, that you can show demonstrable skills, you're going to be very, very happy in this job indeed. Now, when I talk to people at conferences, they almost always say, I want to be a pen tester or I want to prevent attacks. Those are just two of the security jobs that you can do in this field. There's a whole bunch more. I got this all from SANS, and they actually went down several lines more. But there's things like threat hunter. You can actually assume that your network has been hacked and start finding the people who have actually attacked you. Or forensics, or incident responder. Would I recommend that your career be that all the time, but it's a good place to look into. Malware analyst. That's a really great job that if you have any interest in that, people are going to want to talk to you. Disaster recovery and business continuity analyst. What are our tenets in security? It's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is the availability part. People tend to overlook that. They're like, why do I want to do anything with that? Well, that is a key area in security that people really will enjoy. A great one to go to. Did anyone go to DerbyCon 2017? Did you guys see the keynote from Microsoft where they talked about imposter effect? It's where you think that other people know a lot more than you do. And I love the fact that they brought this up. They just hit it head on, because I think this is a thing that happens in this field a lot. You think you don't know what you're doing or you can't do what other people do. And the truth is just not that. If you watch a good Mission Impossible movie, there's always people that have overlapping skills. And that's what you're looking for. The idea here is that you should hit it head on. I have this theory there's just a lack of confidence in this arena. It's very easy to talk yourself out of success and say, I'm not going to be able to do this. And so I put it here as a lobster pail situation. If you put a bunch of lobsters in a pail, I hear, I've not actually verify this, the lobsters will pull the other lobsters into the pail. You don't know if that's true? Sure, hope it's true. I've heard that over and over. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Phew. So, that happens all the time in our lives. And I think you've seen that in your years. Thinking that you're not worthy or can't do it. When I was an app dev on a particular project, it was a project that required 12 people. And it was in development. So if you're in the development team, you know the actual amount of people is 3, right? And it was 2 releases. One person got fired, so the other person had to go to another release. So I was on the release as the person leading it, developing it, and presenting it. Working late nights, miss my family all the time. I was out, like the only person in the office looking out the window going, something's got to change. I just can't do this every single day. And I wrote down 3 things I could do. And InfoSec was number 3. Like I actually had meteorology, which I had no business in, as number 2. because I just didn't think I could do it. It's very easy to talk yourself out of success. My brother, God bless him, was one that really pushed me in this field and kept on saying, you can do this. Kept on giving me projects, cheerleading me all the way. You guys don't have the benefit of my brother, but I'm just telling you, you can do it, and it's worthwhile. So meditate on your path for a day or so, that's what I did. And then commit to your course of action. And then just keep discipline and move forward. But the main thing to remember is no matter what, this is not wasted time. Security will benefit you no matter what you do. That being said, once you choose to go into security, you sort of are officially a spy. You have to consider operational security immediately. So what I mean by that is you have to seek out the people in your field that can help you, your allies that will be beneficial to you, people that will be realistic and assessing you. They may be people outside your field, and they probably should be. People, though, that are supportive of your goal, and I know this sounds very Oprah, but just the positive people that are very realistic. They may be in surprising areas. Some of the people that benefited me are people I was really not expecting. There are those that will not want to see you succeed, though, and they are for different reasons. There's a bunch of ego in this field, sometimes, not with everyone. And there's competition, and some people in your team just may be afraid of losing you. So you'll have to keep it kind of on the down low. I was surprised to find this out. It only took me, I don't know, 40 years to find this out, but some people find knowledge competitive. Didn't know. That was a real surprise. So just be aware of that. I do recommend learning somewhat in secret, not fully. Like you don't have to close the blinds and put on your hoodie. Share with your allies what you're doing, but you just, and does this mean, what Eric told me not to say anything, so there's this support call, and they're talking about networks, I've been studying Nmap, I better not say anything. No, definitely demonstrate your knowledge, but you just don't have to tell everyone. Everyone studying security, you're going to see you suckers later. That probably won't work out very well. Keep plans to yourself, because you don't know where this is going to take you. I don't know if my colleagues know, but I was actually really confident I want to be on the blue team, which is kind of hilarious if you know me, because I really don't belong there. So keep your options open. You don't want to commit to one path and have people hold you to that. All right, so let's talk about how we start down the path. We have to do one of the hardest things ever, which is willingly become a beginner. I hate doing this, but it's the only way to do it. And you have to determine your gap areas. These are things that if you're in a network job, do you know how to develop? If you're a developer, do you know networking? Do you know how the internet generally works? Do you know any scripting languages? Like if you're a Python programmer, have you worked with .NET or vice versa? If you're Windows, how much Linux exposure do you have? Anything that might have scared you. Now, I'm not saying you have to learn all these right away, and you don't need to know all your gaps right away, but you should at least be realistic in assessing and determining what you're missing. Then you need to create a repository. It could be a OneNote, it can be a physical notebook, whatever it is. On your first page, just write down those plans of what you need and start making that as your map. Then put your notes afterwards. But how do you find those gaps, the areas that you're missing? Well, I talked to several people in InfoSec about how they found their knowledge. And there's different ways of doing it. I've listed them all here. I've given sort of like my own names, but the college method. A lot of times when you start out in college, and at least in liberal arts, you don't end up in the major you think you did. Some people go in and say, I think I want to be an English major because that's all they've been exposed to. They take their first anthropology class and like, wow, that's where I belong. So what they're doing is they're sampling a lot of information and finding out what is the most interesting things. There's the exploratory method, finding something you don't know at all and making that a full project and really exploring it in depth. You can ask for official training, but it's kind of hard to get. This is usually people's path. They're interested in InfoSec, they ask for training, they're denied, they give up. Don't let that be you. There's unofficial training though, and that's really easy to acquire, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's talk about the college method. One thing I did is, I'm a big book reader, I know not everyone is, but there's a whole bunch of books that you can get, and I recommend you become very familiar with half-price books. Half-price books has all the certification books that people have gotten rid of and have given up on. And they are great if you want to get an intro to security. They're there for like $9. I was there just 2 days ago, and there's a bunch of them out there. Occasionally you see big name books like Nmap or Metasploit or the Web Hacker's Handbook. All good choices. but start becoming familiar with that. Hacking Exposed, if you've not seen that before, it's a gigantic book about actual hacks, how they were done, and how to prevent them. If you find yourself reading this, you'll find out, wow, I actually really enjoy this. This is a great place for me. This was like, it's a little bit old, but I think it was $8 at half-price books. Either way, get it at your library if you can find it there or on eBay. It's worth it. It will give you a very clear idea of what you're missing and of course it interests you. Also, check your corporate library. I'll mention this again. A lot of corporations have libraries that are free and available, and might have some of these books right now. I'll mention that more in a second. Podcasts. I would start podcasts immediately. If you're slightly interested today, start finding all the podcasts you can. I like Risky Biz, but everyone here has an opinion. Security Now is a good choice. Down the Rabbit Hole has a really annoying intro, but you can they have some really good stuff in it. But ask around, you can find some people who have their opinions. If you're a video learner, that drives me crazy, but some people really go well with that, think about Weaponize. That's Jeremy Drurin's site. He has all sorts of things, from application security to encryption, all sorts of things. Sammy Kamkar, have you guys heard of him? He's the hacker that will talk on Wired about how things have been taken apart and hacked. He's hacked cars. Internet of Things guy. He's a really good one to kind of follow because you can pick up about half of what he says when you first start out. And like, wow, here's some of the things else I need to learn. He has some really good hacks. Hack 5, they're going to try to sell you gadgets, but they have a really good webinar, or not webinar, really sort of a program that's really highly produced, but it gives you some really good ideas of what's out there. Don't have to buy anything to learn it. And what's good about them is they actually will cover people other than themselves. The main thing is to find something you can research daily and find where those gaps are. Now the exploratory one, we're going to go into like finding full knowledge about some particular topic that maybe you don't know. I'm a gadget person, love gadgets. I'll talk about gadgets all day. Always find options that you can build instead of buying. So there's a ton of things out there right now for you that you can look for free. A portable firewall is a great option. Raspberry Pi, there's so many choices there. OpenWRT or Tomato, if you're not familiar with that, that will flash your router and make it into something new. Arduino, there's just so many choices out there that you can explore. So if you find something interesting, find out if there's a gadget you can make and do it. If you have no idea, if I'm hitting you with a bunch of these and you're like, I don't even know where to start, look at HackerBox. HackerBox is a subscription service. You don't have to subscribe. And they're around $60 or $80 each. And they have all the things you need to do some sort of gadget project, and there's usually 6 or 7 things in them. Like there's things like physical pen testing, so you can get a full box of lockpicks. RFID, so you can make your own alarm system and bypass it. I think there's some wireless one out there, and USB attacks. There's all sorts. And the instructions are pretty good. So it's a really good place to start. If you don't want to do gadgets, you develop. If you found that you really like internet, people have created so many courses on that. There's no reason for you not to do one just so you can learn it though. The idea is just to invest that time into yourself now so you can learn a little bit more. Now, I want to apologize to you on this one because there's going to be a night if you do this, you're really going to hate me and really, really sorry. Because it's like you'll have that moment where it's like, I am so frustrated, I cannot figure this out. Why did you send me down this road? Now I'm a dad, I'm about to say a dad thing. That frustration is a gift. It really does help you because my portable firewall project I've listed here, I absolutely hated every moment of it. I use every bit of it today, which sounds crazy, but it's why I'm good at networking now, because I was able to figure that stuff out. And you actually obtain real and demonstrable skills. Let's talk about work projects. So here's a portable firewall. I like this one a lot because it's a gadget you can carry something in your pocket. If you go to a hotel, you know that people can listen into your traffic. If you're concerned about people getting into your devices, especially after what you heard upstairs, the portable firewall, what it will do is you can hook it into an Ethernet or into Wi-Fi for the hotel's router, and it will protect any nasty traffic from getting in. You also can VPN out through it. And what you're doing is you're buying a $30 router, flashing it, and programming it with all this additional stuff. What you get from that is networking. Is anyone really good at networking here? Yeah, so good. Networking, if you don't know it, this is a great place for it. You'll need to learn about VPN and certification or certificates for your later work in security. This is a great place to learn about it. Linux, if you don't have any exposure, this is a very gentle intro. And you get a gadget, that's nice. A Dropbox. Dropbox is, I really like those. They're very James Bondy. You use just a little bitty device. You waltz into a target, plug it into the router with permission, of course, and it would dial back to your home box and send out all the information that you want, or maybe you use it as a way to get a foothold into an organization. You get even more Linux, you get more networking, but you also get exposure to things like encryption, a bunch of attack tools, and you get a gadget out of it. It's worth the time, and you start collecting gadgets. My whole drawer full of gadgets is huge. I have plenty of them. Now, if you know me, you're going to probably say, you're saying buy everything in Hack 5 now, right? No, they make it way too easy. Find something right now that makes it where you actually have to work it out. And then after you do something really great and you feel really good about where you are in the security world, use Hack 5 gadgets to reward yourself. That's at least what I did. When I got my security plus, I bought my pen. So. Now, official training, you can ask for it, but you have to be realistic. Know the boss's mood, know the budgets, kind of assess your realistic chance of success. You may not get the class you want. You may sign up for a SIM class, find out you're suddenly in an SQL Manager Developers course. So be aware, you may not get what you want. You also may be questioned a lot, or detoured, or pigeonholed. You said you were going to be blue team, you're going to be blue team from now on. You don't want that. You don't want this to be your only avenue. I do think other paths are more fruitful because you get to apply things at your own pace. You get to do things that you want. And maybe if you're exploring, I don't know, forensics, and you say, this isn't for me, you can yourself say, I'm done with forensics, I'm moving on. And you have flexibility. Now, the unofficial training, and this is something I really was excited to tell you guys, is often available to you right now. I bet almost every one of you, when you go back to your job and look on your internet, you're going to see a product that's sold to almost every corporation for e-university or e-book library. This is often free, it's often rarely, I say sometimes, it's nearly always rarely used. And you will find full books that you can find, including Nmap, Metasploit, Wireshark. It's all probably there if you have the same product. You'd be surprised what's there. A lot of times there's certification courses for free that are on there. Are video courses that will prep people for certification. If you want a free option, here's your free option, and go ahead and use it. As I said, no one even needs to know that you've done it. Not that you're trying to be all super stealthy about it, but you don't have to answer to anyone. You can move around and have that flexibility. So. There are also lots of free online options. Capture the flag, an option for a lot of people. Gloria is the Google Web Application Security Training. Not the best one to start out with. Hack the Box is a good capture the flag, but those are some other options you can look at. Sign up for security webinars now. Black Hills had a great webinar recently where they were actually putting together a card game based on different security products. Did you guys hear about the World War II thing where they had silhouettes of planes on the playing cards? So they could identify planes while they were just playing radio games. This is the same idea. You're playing a game, you sort of accidentally learning about all sorts of security products. Really good idea. They're going to make it available, I think, next month. But you wouldn't know about that unless you signed up for their security webinars. So start doing it now and sign up for as many as you can. There's a whole bunch out there that are free. I don't mean it's controversial, but join ISSA if you haven't. It's a really good place to connect with professionals and you learn about all sorts of stuff. I just presented on web application security just I think it's 2 months ago. Find relay communities. Anyone here familiar with InfoGuard? Good. Of course you are. InfoGuard is the FBI's outreach. Who wouldn't want to be part of the FBI's outreach? I love being able to go there and say, sorry boss, I gotta go. Gotta get the FBI. So it's a really good one to go to. Really recommend it. And it's free. But we have time to tell you something about the FBI part here at the end. So let's talk about now narrowing your question, really making it where you really understand and get marketable skills you can really apply and get yourself ahead during the first interview. Here's your day at the window where you've just had enough. Here's your foundation for about 6 months, give or take, where you're exploring and you're learning. The rest of the 6 months is going to be finding that right fit, finding a way to take what you've learned and really find what suits you and apply new skills to it. So you should have a general idea of what you kind of like. Maybe you found compliance, red, blue team, secure development. We're going to take that and sharpen it into real skills. 6 months though, seems long, right? I'm not saying it's exactly 6 months, but you want to know that if you're making a career change, if you're actually thinking about going into one of these areas, you want to meditate on it and make sure you're making the right thing. You don't want to find yourself in a new field and go, well, this is not what I expected. You want to experience it a little bit. But your mileage may vary. You may decide that red team's for me, and then we jump right in. So, somebody on your team, chances are, has something they want to get rid of right now, and it is security related. Every development team I have been on, and every development team I'm familiar with, have people that have these items, and they would throw a party for you if you took any one of those. And here's the great thing, they're all security related. Security remediation. Most development teams do not want anything to do with it. Business continuity. Operational readiness. You want to see a bunch of people run out of rooms screaming? Just mention operational readiness. Firewall coordination. Anyone like firewall coordination? Not really, but it's a great way to become a security practitioner. What's a security practitioner? Someone's putting security in action on their daily job. These are all security jobs. Even if you're not going to have an official InfoSec job title, you now have experience in it. When I was in AppDev, I took on all business continuity, and people couldn't give it to me fast enough. And it was great because I was able to study for my tests at the same time and put to practice what I had learned. And I didn't like business continuity before I went to security. As I said earlier, I really liked it once I was actually able to put my parts into place. So yes, recommend it. They'll take you out to lunch. You should have them take you out to lunch too. Get something else extra from it. Find presentation opportunities. You know, here's the thing. I don't actually like presenting a lot either, but it's a really great way to demonstrate your skills and also learn a lot in the process. And if you're first starting out, it's a good way to establish yourself as an expert, at least on your team. Related to your job, fold in security, but it doesn't have to. Maybe you can talk about Wi-Fi security. Maybe you can talk about phishing and the importance of that. Things that they will find useful. The great thing is everybody wins. You become the expert, but those painful things are taken away. The company wins, and you win. So it's a win all the way around. Really great thing to do. Keep creating. Also, one of my colleagues, who I'll present with later, says that the best currency you can carry is give back to the InfoSec community. So get experience in InfoSec now. Find a GitHub project you can contribute to. There's a whole bunch of them. They're not all code. Some of them are project plans. Some of them are ways to make a gadget. Some are just lists. So start doing that. Make up your own gadgets and projects and post them. Contribute articles, posts. Even if you're brave, answer on Security Stack Exchange. Though I wouldn't, because man, those guys are mean. You know, that might work for you. You can volunteer your time. I would be careful on this though. Has anyone heard about what's going on with Coalfire right now? Coalfire, the security group? This is a group that does auditing and pen testing. They are real pros because they really know what they're doing. If you audit, you know that you're going to cross your T's, dot your I's. And these guys broke into with a good statement of work, signed off by the right authority, broke into a courthouse as part of the pen. Yeah, you're familiar with this. Broke into a courthouse. They found it unlocked, so they locked it for them and acted like it was locked in the first place. Broke in, waited for the police when they set off the alarm intentionally, showed the police all their tools. A sheriff who was responsible for the courthouse didn't like that, arrested all of them, even though they had a statement of work signed off, correct authority. These guys knew what they were doing. I say that only as a word of warning, because if you're first starting out, it's easy to miss a few things. You may want to be careful how you volunteer your time. So don't say, like, hey guys, guess what? I'll break into your building, just give me a signature. I wouldn't recommend that right out. But there are things you can do if you find the opportunity to volunteer. Just very carefully. I have an asterisk here. You'd be surprised how many people do not know how to set up a GitHub. The very day you set up a GitHub, you already have a tangible skill that other people don't have. I've talked to several team members and colleagues that do bug bounties. This is an option. You can get real money and real knowledge and real experience. I recommend working through a company. It gives you a bit of a shield from liability. A lot of times, though, issues are found immediately. It's going to be hard for you to be one of those people and find those big issues. Might be a bit frustrating. I actually tried to do this myself. I really wanted an Omega watch. So I'm like, I'll just spend a weekend doing bug bounties. I got nothing. So, and this is what I do on my daily job. So, sending reports to companies. Some of them have hidden in their terms of service. Hey, we take bug bounties. It's usually in 9-point font because they don't really want it. But stay within their scope and deliver it carefully. If you decide to send to a company, hey, I found a security issue, be very careful how you do it. Some do not respond well to unsolicited reports. So, I'm saying be careful with this, be careful with that, but you're in security. You're going to be sometimes a professional bad guy. Also, I really do recommend getting a basic certification. When I've talked to people in project management, they ask, do I need a project management certification? I usually say, well, what's your experience? Have you done it? Then maybe not. These days with Agile, maybe, possibly. Development, do I think a certification is needed? No, I don't. I do in security, at least at the beginning, for a couple of reasons. Now, it's probably going to be, if you're paying for this on your own dime, probably going to be one of your big dollar items. But CompTIA offers both security and pen test costs at a low cost. It's the less expensive entry. And what's great is you don't need to take a course to pass it. I took my Security Plus entirely on half-price books and projects and aced it. Is it an easy test? It is not. If you don't know anything about security, and your first learning is going to be a challenge, but it's worth it, and it will prove to yourself that you've done it, and it will show to others you're serious about this field. You've proven knowledge, and you're so certain you've bet money on yourself that you can do it. Security Plus sends you a little wallet-sized card. I still have my wallet-sized card because I love it. It's just been so much to me. So the result is you have real work in your job, taking all the good stuff that people don't want, outside contributions, GitHub, demonstrable knowledge, like gadgets development. Maybe you volunteered, maybe you certified. Either way, if you interview now, we'd want to talk to you with these kind of things because it really shows that you're interested. Jeremy said recently, I don't know how any of us could have gone to InfoSec if we were fully qualified. Exactly. So we're trying to make it, you can be a person that shows a passion about this field and shows that you're interested. And we'll get you the right way. And also, you'll know very quickly if you really want to do it. Also, one of my team members, and thanks for this, said it was a great awareness of self-accomplishment. And she was absolutely right. So let's talk about measuring success and seeing where you are. At your point, you're probably doing a lot better than you think you are. But when you listen to podcasts, when you read books, are you completely lost? When people rattle reports, you're like, don't know what that's about, or are you like, I'm actually keeping up to date. I understand what's going on. Do you feel underwater, or do you feel like you're kind of swimming? You don't have to be perfect, but you feel like you're still going on. Get a reality check from some of your allies. That's why I think honest, good allies are great because they'll tell you if you're full of it. But have them tell you, here's what I'm doing, and we'll say, I think you're doing this, oh, you should do this next. The key is to keep finding those gaps, though, and continue to practice both what's fun and not fun. And I say this is important, to revisit what you found confusing initially, go back, because you might find that it wasn't, or it isn't now. I did the Google Groyer training, I think 6 months in, and was completely lost. Web application testing, and it was frustrating. But I revisited it after about the 8-month mark. It was well worth it. So, but that's what I do now. So, definitely look at it again. You also need to ask yourself: are you still enthused, or is it just like As I said, everyone wants to be a spy. You're forcing yourself to be a spy when really that's not meant for you. It's okay if something doesn't fit you. You can actually make an impact. You're not wasting your time. Everything is cumulative. So even if you learn about stuff that isn't in your area, it's still going to help you later. If you decided that you want to be blue team and decide, no, I don't really want to be blue team, I'm going to go red team, well, guess what's going to help you a lot? A lot of knowledge about what the blue team does. Also, there's this thing where you suddenly become your job, not really just do your job. When I was in app dev, I was a very, very good developer. I was very good at project management. That was my day job. I did not open up a book on the weekend. I definitely didn't want to talk about it later, and it was just exhausting to think about. I am an InfoSec practitioner. Anyone that knows me knows that I read this and read it constantly. On my vacation, I put 2 projects together. I'm not saying everyone should do that. Definitely have an OC thing going on there, but you end up doing a lot of it. You read about it. So what's interesting to you? So if you still find it exciting today, you do your things. You should also maintain the super spy, secret agent offset. And what I mean by that is you don't want to show off, even though it will be so tempting, that first lock that is picked, that first exploit, that first web app. If you're a ham radio operator, and I know I'm dating myself by saying that if you're a ham radio operator, you don't tell everyone you're a ham because anytime someone has their TV go slightly wonky, they're going to blame you. And I tell people what I do now, which I'm still struggling, the best way to tell people what I do. If I say I'm a professional hacker, they'll immediately check their wallet, which I find hilarious because it's a physical test. I wouldn't be able to do that. But some people just get really nervous about it. So just be careful. Keep it in the family about what you're doing. Do take a picture, though, of your first exploit. I took pictures of mine, still have them. And, at this time, it's probably a good time to share with your manager. My app dev manager was shocked to find out what I had been doing. And at that point, it was like, well, I already learned it, so there you go. Placed it on the resume, and it was great, at least at the very minimum, for their reaction. So it definitely held on to that. Take a picture of that, too. If you guys take a picture of it, show me it out. I'd love to see it. Yeah, I wish I had. Stop, and as you go on, don't rest. We've reached our goal, right? So your year end, keep moving it forward. You have to keep that continued self-investment. I've been in this field for a long time. I remember Visual Basic 1, and Visual Basic 1 said, your controls that you bought here are a bunch of toys in a toy box. It wasn't really true, but you can make your InfoSec toys really interesting. You just have to make your work fun. It's a way of constantly moving your knowledge forward. And continually find what you don't know. Just recently I'm rooting an Android phone. If anyone has rooted their Android phone, let me know because I'm having trouble. But constantly find a way to push it forward. And find ways to apply it at work. I wasn't a D&D guy, but I understand that there's a magic user, right, that has to read a spell book every so often to keep the spells up. Is that right? No D&D people, come on! We're in InfoSec, there's gotta be someone here.
I think once a day.
Once a day, you said that. No, I thought it was once a day. Well, it's sort of the same thing, but you don't have to do it absolutely every single day. But you do want to keep your skills up. You don't have to constantly study, but you're probably going to have books with you. Conferences. Consider going to a conference that may be on your own vacation and maybe something you pay for. I went to DEF CON last year. It was paid for by me, and it was definitely worth it. And I got to see the Grand Canyon, which was awesome. And you get to experience a lot of things in InfoSec you might not have. Also, you get to kind of see what other people are doing, and you get to meet a bunch of people that are in your field. Also, at this point, you have a proven record for a year. You have knowledge that should help the team. You've taken on operational readiness. This might be the time to take one of those coins and go to your manager and say, how much you pay for that one-day conference for me to go? And they should pay for you on something like that. Maybe not that time, maybe not like that, but maybe something like B-Sides. Also, constantly look for the right fit. Your community, like ISSA, can point you the right way, but you can look inside your own company. When I was on AppDev, not to give you yet another story, I was assigned temporarily to a team that required a project management person, because they were lacking in that, and someone that understood the technology. So I was assigned to it for 6 months. Then they started looking for, they didn't know the name, I think they want to call it a security evangelist. And they're like, let me be a security champion. I'm not known to go to bosses and bosses' bosses and bosses' bosses and say, you're not going to find anyone else in your organization that can do what I can do. Here's my experience. Here's what I do. You need me. And I've never done that before. They gave me the opportunity, pushed the other person aside because they weren't actually very good at security. And I was assigned to that team. There was bad parts about the team, but that was definitely a good part. So I would definitely seize the day. I got to stop paying Taylor Swift on my presentations. I just realized that she has been in every single presentation I've given this year. So sorry about that if you've seen it. There are going to be people that are going to tell you right off, you don't belong here. There's a lot of ego, and I've said this on an earlier slide. I definitely experienced it myself. When people told me, hilariously, if you're a developer, you have no business in security, which is funny because we want people that are developers that are experienced in these other areas. So, because they're the people that have experience with technology that a lot of people don't. So today, you're here showing interest in security. You're committed to securing the future. Therefore, you're putting security in the action. So keep moving towards your goal, and you'll find it that. Now, I know a lot of you guys are InfoSec people, but just in case you're not, today you're deputized fully. You can call yourself an enthusiast, evangelist, a champion if you actually are doing it right now and you don't actually have the title. And guess what? You're a security practitioner. Again, the practitioner is someone putting security into place. So start with when you listen to podcasts and they say this is for security practitioners worldwide, that's for you. I wanted badges for everyone, but I didn't know how many people, and they're really expensive, so sorry, no badge, but it's a pretend badge. Tell people that you got deputized in 2019. Anyone else that says that you don't belong is completely wrong. So, and just to revisit what we're talking about, be humble, invest in yourself, do the hard work, but really the key thing is finding the enjoyment and find ways to apply it where you can actually enjoy security. Don't get stuck in the hairball. It's really easy to do that. I understand that basketball players get upset with others because somebody makes a less million than the other person. That's getting stuck in the hairball. Is that true? I don't know. Sports, not me. But sports ball. Bill, sports ball. Big fan. I'm a hopeless Bengals fan. That's why I tell people I don't even know what it means. So that's football. So it works. It's amazing how well that works. But seek opportunities that you can apply your special skills. If you aren't enjoying it, reset yourselves and recharge. It's really important that this is one of those few investments that you can put time in, and you are not going to throw away what you've learned. It's not like investing in a framework that's theoretical. It's not like, should I learn Couchbase or should I not? Maybe Couchbase will be used, maybe it won't. Everything you use in security will only build yourself up that much further. That's what happened. So here's my contact information. You can take a picture of this if you like. This is my personal address. I'm also reached at saintcrossbow@gmail.com. I will explain why Saint Crossbow some other time. Look for my GitHub. I have all sorts of projects out there. I just posted a plan that if you want to make your own shark jack, you can. It's out there. So I'm trying to find one of mine's better. I think Hack5 found it, and they posted some of their own payloads as their own. Can't believe it. But I guess that just means it's a good project. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have at all. Yes, please.
On the GitHub account, do you suggest that it be public or hidden? Because if you can think of something that somebody else hasn't thought of, then everybody will copy it, and then you won't be unique.
It's a good question. So should you have a GitHub private or public? I would answer it 2 ways. I would possibly do both. Private for, because we've seen a GitHub where someone was putting what they were learning, and they were clearly not learning anything. Dangerous for them. If you have your own idea, then you probably don't want to post it in GitHub. The reason my company owns my patent is I was dumb enough to open my mouth. But I'm glad I got a patent for it. So I know I can't pronounce that correctly. I've really worked hard on it. For things that you think are beneficial, if you demonstrate your knowledge, definitely public. Even if you are giving away ideas, that's okay. This is good currency for you. You have to balance out how much money am I going to make from this versus will this benefit me and show my real experience. That's my
And also,
Sure.
I don't know if you have internet connection, but at our InfoGuard meeting, they talked about a national membership that was like $100 or $65, and it includes benefits. I don't know if you have time to pull it up to see.
For InfoGuard?
Yeah,
I
it's like a national one as opposed to the chapter.
I did not bring up my.
It's
my
something
Wi-Fi.
new.
Yeah, but you guys didn't hear that InfoGuard 160?
No, it's 65 to 100. I can't remember. There's
Okay.
2 levels.
So just go out, find out how to join the international InfoGuard chapter.
Well, it's a national. I don't think
National. Let's call it international. What the heck?
it's.
All right. Any other questions at all? Happy to answer anything. Oh. I used to have a job I did not enjoy very much. A certificate from the FBI that said, "Thank you, Eric Jackson, for your participation in Hispanic Cultural Heritage Month." And I know people walk by and it's like, "Is Eric Hispanic? What's going on with that?" And it's I had an FBI friend that involved me a salsa dance demonstration at the FBI. I never revealed to anyone why I got that. I thought it was extremely fun. So, thanks for asking that. So, yes?
Well, I just got to kind of toss on for those that are interested. We're going to talk about the certifications. So for in the DoD world, if you're wanting to like just basic level information security, the requirement is going to be security, at least security plus.
Right, exactly. I'm glad you
That's why
mentioned
it's
it.
a good entry level one to get.
I totally forgot to mention that. I'm so glad you said that.
Keep your continuing education credits up.
Right, so DoD does require security plus. I forgot that in a lot of other government jobs.
Yeah.
So this is well worth your investment, right? Because you already have it.
Right.
It demonstrates it, yes.
I just wanted to say Cybrary is another opportunity.
Oh, that's a good choice.
And the only problem I've had with Cybrary is the amount of emails that you get to try and elevate your free membership into a paid career. I'm getting tons of that. And
That's why we have Outlook rules, right?
yes,
Straight to the
that's-
trash.
you're gonna wanna learn those Outlook rules.
So you
Another
were,
opportunity.
I'll talk to you after the class on that, or the talk. What you have?
For the DoD, I've also heard that they really prefer like network admins who want to learn security and get the Security Plus, because the explanation was you have to know what it is you're protecting.
That's true. But see, the thing is, like, that's why I really think you need to be well-rounded, because if you're a developer only focusing on development, you never look at networking. Most of the developers I worked at would never considered it. They would never, and if you, I say this a lot, if you want to see something really funny, ask your lead developer what a NetMask is, and they'll just like blow up. So like, you should, seriously, it would be real fun. But you don't have to be just that in order to get into security. You can, as long as you know general areas, because what's one of the best ways to get into a corporation is through their web app.
And
So,
one more,
sure.
there might be projects with OWASP that if you want to be a developer that knows security to work on.
I should have mentioned OWASP. Yes, OWASP is a great one to look at. So they have a lot of free reading. Any other questions at all? I will offer, if you guys